And welcome back to Sports on Tap, live from Studio J in Brunswick, Ohio. It's our Ohio High School football coverage, Week 1 recap. I want to thank the Sports on Tap band for that intro.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting big here at Sports on Tap.
Right.
Just not that big.
No.
And I want to thank everybody for listening and listening to our show here in Week 1 and just going along with us here because
thanks for all the new followers on Twitter.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of followers over the past week. And with our new website, make sure you check out our website, www.sportsontappodcast.com. We'll have recaps of the week. For sure, we'll have our podcast on there. Tonight's show will be separated by conference. So if you just are interested in one conference, you can listen to one. But by all means, listen to all three conferences that we have. There on and so forth.
And let's not forget that some of those new Twitter followers may be due in no small part to our one and only Robert Richard Troutman, featured on ESPN's
High School Hysteria.
Yes,
ESPN
sir.
Cleveland High School
Yes,
Hysteria.
sir.
Rob is considered one of the reporters now. We'll be calling in on a weekly basis, so make sure you turn in about 10:30 or thereabouts after the game going.
So.
High School Hysteria on ESPN Cleveland is a really good high school show. They got a lot of reporters out there, up-to-the-minute scores, so good show there. We're happy to be a part of it, for sure.
We hope to have Rob with some more different stats.
Maybe you guys might be on it at some point. So.
You got the pipes, man.
Hey, we all have the pipes here at Sports on
Yeah.
Tap, right, Ed?
Mine are just on my arms. Yours are in your throat.
Oh, my God. Wow. Oh, my God.
Best color band in the biz over there.
Dynamite drop in, Monty.
Fly ball caught.
All right. Well, we had a game of the week last week.
We sure did.
Olmsted Falls, the Bulldogs traveled to
game.
Brecksville Broadview Heights and traveled to take on the Bees. And, Sean, you did a great job writing this story. It's still front and center on our website.
It is.
SportsOnTapPodcast.com and also on NEOSportsInsiders.com.
Yep.
You did a great job writing this.
Thank you.
And a fun game to be a part of, really.
Very
From
fun
start
game.
to the end.
Yeah, I mean, it started out pretty quickly. On the third play of the game, a reverse pass from freshman quarterback Joe Labus connected 60 yards to Sam Wigloos for a touchdown. Wigloos also caught the 2-point conversion to put the Bees up 8-0 early in the first quarter. Olmsted Falls answered with a 65-yard touchdown drive capped by a 5-yard touchdown run by junior running back Jack Spellacy. Unfortunately, a missed extra point allowed the score to remain 8-6 in favor of the Bees. Brecksville's Labus and Wigloos hooked up once again on the very next drive this time for a 55-yard touchdown pass, and the Bees led 15-6 to close out the first quarter. Olmsted Falls offense unfortunately could not get anything going in the second quarter. It appeared as though the Bees were going to add to their lead as they were deep inside the Olmsted Falls territory when a good defensive pressure by the Bulldogs defense forced a fumble out of freshman quarterback Joe Labus, and the Bulldogs recovered on the 8-yard line, stopping any momentum for the Bees heading into halftime. Brecksville's defense was able to force a punt as on the opening drive of the second half, but the Bees offense was able to take advantage of some solid running from senior running back Alec Buckley to get the ball into field goal range, where junior kicker Zach Barr was able to nail a 35-yard field goal to put the Bees up 18-6 halfway through the third quarter. Now, this is where the momentum really kind of flipped in this game. Olmsted Falls began the very next drive on the 12-yard line and marched 82 yards, and this took the span of the remaining third quarter and early into the fourth quarter, and was capped off by a 10-yard touchdown pass from junior quarterback Teddy Grzinski to Jack Spellacy, and the Bulldogs closed the gap 18-13 with just as the fourth quarter got underway. the momentum shifted even further when the Olmsted Falls Bulldogs defense forced a punt, and then a bad botched snap, which, again, we talk about this all the time, Ed. Special teams is what gets you in the end, and a bad snap gave the Olmsted Falls Bulldogs the ball deep inside the Bees' territory. This, after they covered the ball, I lost my place. I'm sorry. They quickly capitalized from a 16-yard run from Grodzinski, and just like that, the Bulldogs were up 21-18 with 9:18 left in the fourth quarter. Olmsted Falls again was able to hold off any Bees attack, and it really seemed, and I want to get Josh and Rob's take on this, it really seemed that once that fumble happened, from an offensive standpoint, Medina was just not Medina, Brecksville, the Bees. Sorry, I got the Bees mixed up there. The
Bees!
The Bees!
They're everywhere!
Yeah. I mean, it just seemed like offensively, Brecksville just kind of stalled out. I mean, they had that field goal in the third quarter, but a lot of that had to do with maybe a really good kick return, and the kicking game for Olmsted Falls wasn't exactly the best. But, I mean, it just from an offensive standpoint, Brecksville could not get the ball moving anywhere into the end zone. And I think it really kind of shook when you have a freshman quarterback and something like a fumble deep or when you're on an option to score, that could take the wind out of anyone's sails, let alone a freshman quarterback.
Yeah, there was well, I think the more bigger play of the game, and it was definitely momentum turning, was the botch snap on the punt, where Olmsted Falls, recovered deep, and Brecksville scored on the play. And then it seemed, though, Brecksville kind of lost their composure on the subsequent drive to start the fourth quarter. They had a couple personal foul penalties called on them, just for I think frustration on how things were going. And this is where you have, like you mentioned, Sean, a freshman quarterback coming in. That's a big task.
It's a composure issue.
Yeah. And that's something that he'll gain in experience. He's a tall kid. He's got a lot of room for growth, but just not enough to overcome what surmounted into a great second half for the Bulldogs, Olmsted Falls.
Which was capped off late in the fourth quarter by a 1-yard touchdown plunge by senior running back Luke Lombardo. And, he may not show up too much on the stat line, but Luke Lombardo was really the bell cow for that offense. I know Spellici was also a very good running back for them, but those two together were just the hammer and the nail at that point, because and you could see it because Olmsted Falls was not passing the ball very much. I mean, they were getting some short passes, but they weren't trying to stretch the defense. They were literally pounding the ball, and it seemed to work because I think Brecksville was up for the challenge in the first half, but unfortunately in the second half, that's where the fatigue factor, the frustration factor, as you mentioned, a lot of lapses in judgment, lapses in performance, and it caused that. Just to give you some quick stat, Brecksville's Joe Lavas was 9 for 16, 191 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. He had an interception and a lost fumble. That kind of speaks to anyone, a freshman at the varsity level. Wide receiver Sam Wigaloos hauled in 5 catches for 149 yards and 2 touchdowns. But again, those 2 touchdowns came early in the first quarter. He burned Olmsted Falls once or twice, but after that he wasn't much of a factor in the remainder of the game. Olmsted Falls quarterback Teddy Grodzinski was 8 of 14 passing. He had 78 yards total passing and 1 touchdown, again, to Spellici, and he had a rushing touchdown. Luke Lombardo had 15 carries for 86 yards and 1 touchdown. Again, speaks to how he is the premier back, whereas Spellici actually plays more of a fullback role, but he gets the ball in the crunch time. I named Jack Spellici my player of the game simply on the fact that the guy had 12 carries, 41 yards. He had a rushing touchdown and a reception for a touchdown, and he was the constant, I think, in the red zone for Olmsted Falls. He was the guy. I was up in the booth, and you could really hear the coaches from Brecksville just yelling, fullback, 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 and there's Spellici just getting the ball, and he was going. I mean, he was falling for 3 yards again, and not to mention if he got through the first wave. So congratulations to Olmsted Falls running back Jack Spellici, who was named Sports on Tap's Game of the Week, Player of the Game. That's a lot to say, but we're gonna have to.
You did it.
I know, but we're gonna have to get a shorter name. I'm gonna mess that up. But yeah, I mean, that was for a first game. We had never been to Brecksville, and hats off to the Brecksville Broadview Heights School District. They did a great job hosting that game. You could really feel the energy and the atmosphere, even in despite of a loss. Very, very impressive. First week out for us.
Yeah, Brecksville Broadview Heights is it's a great area. We've played them multiple times. We played them last year. Once again, didn't turn out the way we wanted to, but class act there all the way. I just wanted to give one more quick update for a school that they're down in the Dayton area. Sean might be familiar with them. We talked about Vandalia Butler. Nice win there.
They lost
to Maslin Perry, who is defending Division II, state finalist. So that makes sense.
Yep.
Fayetteville Rockets. My brother-in-law Kevin Finch is the coach down there. They did get a 20-12 victory. They have a backup quarterback and a freshman running back who ran for 37 carries for 280 yards.
There you
go.
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember that. I think it was Chase Jester last year. His brother is playing this year. I'm not sure if that was a guy or not. He didn't give me the name. He just said back
You
up.
drop almost 300 in week one.
That could be almost a full gallon.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah, that's close, especially for a freshman. He's a
Chocolate.
growing boy. He needs some.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
He's a
Very
freshman.
impressive.
Good Lord.
big win for Coach Finch down there.
Shout out to the offensive line down in Fayetteville, too. 280 yards.
Give credit where
Better be
credit
getting
is
some
due.
McDonald's or something there.
Well, to put a wrap on Week 1 in the books, we are proud to announce our Week 2 game of the week.
Yes, sir.
Familiar faces that we've seen. We're going to be traveling out to Westlake this coming week. We're the Berea Mid-Park Titans, hoping to rebound after a tough loss against Strongsville. We'll take on Westlake. Looking forward to heading out there for sure. So that is our Week 2 game of the week.
Yeah, and both teams looking to rebound. Which team is going to come out firing? Because both lost in Week 1 and are looking to get back on the right track. So let's see how they're going to come out. Both teams really are offensive-minded. Berea Mid-Park can put up some points, and so can Westlake. But we'll see what happens. It's going to be a fun game to be a part of, and look forward to it. Guys, Week 1 is over.
It's in the books.
It's in the books.
Write
Our
it down. Forget
recap
about
is
it.
Over. Want to thank everybody for listening. Guys, any last-second thoughts here?
Last-second thoughts?
I had none.
Just make sure to check out our website, sportsontappodcast.com, for everything Sports on Tap and high school football.
And Friday nights, if you're out there and you want to post a score, make sure you use the hashtag SOTHSF on Twitter.
Oh. If you have nothing going on, go check out a high school game. It's cheap entertainment and
fun
knows,
atmosphere.
Good time.
Who knows? If you have a young son, that's probably what they'll be doing in Friday nights when they're in high school. So it's always good to get a taste of the atmosphere.
And Seamus,
I would agree.
We're here for you, bud.
I apologize once again to him. Mr. Higley, I will get it right next week. Seamus, I will get it right. I promise.
All right.
For Sean Duffy, Ed Dick, Josh Jeffy, I'm Rob Trautman saying so long for this week. We'll see you on Friday at Westlake. Have a great week, everyone.
Seamus!